This is Boxing UK with Sky henchman Adam Smith. First time in Newcastle, Adam?
No, I've been here many times before. I love Newcastle. It's a wonderful sporting city. It's got a vibrancy. It's got a passion to it. We've come here many times with Ricky Hatton, with Joe Calzaghe, with Nigel Benn. We've had a prize fighter up here. Of course, my old colleague Glenn McCrory from this part of the world. And, so I've been up here a lot. And before me, even Billy Hardy in Sunderland. And so we've had fights over there with Tony Jeffries. So North East has been a big, Paul Truscott in Middlesbrough, a big hunting ground for Sky. But it's been a quiet period. And I think Lewis has sort of put it back on the map in boxing terms. I think the football, you guys crave success up here. It's a huge club. It's a sleeping giant of a club. Being a Liverpool fan, I have had the pleasure of being at St James's Park a few times, and it's a special city, and I'm really excited about Saturday night here.
Being an Everton fan, we'll move on swiftly from football, Adam. You mentioned some classic North East fighters there, and as you said, this is a real renaissance potentially for North East boxing.
Well, it is. Lewis had a slight, backward step when he fought Patera when we were up here before, and it was a bit flat that night. He'd had a huge crowd, but we took him to the Sky Contact Centre, and people just want to meet Lewis Ritson. He's a great story. We're taking him around the city, and he's one of those. He reminds me of Josh Warrington in Leeds and Ricky Hatton in Manchester. He's a guy of the people, and fans love that. And I think if Lewis can get past Robbie Davies, which is a really tough ask, I think Robbie's quality, and I think that there's some people in the trade that really fancy Robbie to win Saturday night. So I think it's a really hard ask at a new weight for Lewis, but if Lewis can get through it, and say Josh Taylor wins next weekend at the O2, I can see a massive fight for a world title coming up this part of the world. So, as far as the fans are concerned, that will be the ideal scenario. As we know in boxing, it's unpredictable and difficult things happen. This has been a very tough week for us with the loss of Patrick Day. Our thoughts are with his family, his friends, everybody connected to what happened in Chicago and the days afterwards. And it's devastating when that happens for boxing, but we all sort of try and pull together, and we try and come to terms with it. So what I want tomorrow night is an exciting night for the fans, and a happy, healthy and successful one for the fighters, and really the health is the most important.
Here, well said, Adam. The undercard fight, or the co-main event, Fitzgerald and Cheeseman. Expecting an absolute cracker with that one.
Well, that could top any bill as well. It's another terrific battle. Ted Cheeseman has proved domestically he's a real force, and he's a real aggressive, come forward, all action fighter, as he saw as well when he stepped up. Just like Lewis at European level, it's not quite the same, and he had a difficult one against Garcia at the beginning of the year. So he's got to come back from that. Fitzgerald had that fantastic win over Anthony Fowler. The question is, has he mentally and physically got it absolutely right, Fitzgerald? He looked in wonderful shape on the scales, so maybe he's got the slight edge on Cheeseman, but Cheeseman's got the title. It's another great fight. It's one that my team and they're boxing experts, they can't really find a winner in either fight, so they can't. Maybe the fans will decide who they want. Certainly the Ritson supporters up here might make a big difference to Lewis's chances tomorrow, but on paper they both could go either way.
Yeah, we know Anthony Fowler's coming up tomorrow. Potential a rematch with Fitzgerald?
Of course. I mean, that was a terrific fight first time around. Anthony was devastated afterwards, and he rebuilt well, beating Brian Rose in Liverpool. He obviously is a big ticket seller. He's a big character in the sport, former captain of Team GB, and obviously it's as lively in Liverpool as it is up here in Newcastle. So there's plenty of scope for where to put these fights on. So let's see what happens tomorrow night. Let's see what happens between Cheeseman and Fitzgerald. But I think if Scott comes through, it's a fight that has to happen.
Last one for this card. What do you think of Joseph Laws?
Yeah, well, I think he's terrific. I think he's, we had him on before in a sort of live swing at a prime time, and we take a little bit of a risk doing that with a sort of one of the novice fighters. But he's got a huge fan base. He's exciting to watch. As you saw at the weigh-in, he tries something different, and I like that. And so yeah, hopefully we'll get him on nice and live at a great time Saturday night, so people can build the story. Because if Lewis wins and he continues to win, then who knows? The sky's the limit. Maybe St James's Park has to be booked at some point in the future. That's the dream of Lewis Ritson. I know that's Eddie's hope. So, while I want big fights to come to Anfield, I'm sure there's people here that want big
That's
fights.
happening next year, though, isn't it?
St James's Park. We're working very, very hard on that. We're hopeful that if Callum comes through on November 23rd, that can materialise. We need a big name, but I think that Liverpool will come out for Callum in the spring, especially if we go on and win the league as well. So I think that...
Can I just say for the record, Goodison Park beat you for that one in regards to staging the boxing?
Listen, I had to walk on your turf at Goodison Park, and I told Tony I wasn't comfortable doing it, but it was a great night for Tony Bellew. It was probably the highlight of his career and a night he'll never forget. Fantastic night at Goodison. I'm sure we'll have a great night at Anfield, and maybe we'll have a great night at St James's Park, but there's a long way to go before things like that can be put into place. So let's just enjoy tomorrow night, and as I said, let's hope everybody comes out safe and healthy and goes back to their families.
Absolutely. Adam, would you mind if I ask you a couple of questions on wider boxing issues, and it touches on the health issue that you've just spoken about? Your expert opinion on the Nigel Benn comeback?
Yeah, I think it's a difficult one to assess, really. I'm not, listen, I like Nigel. I've known him for a long time. It's not something I would have chosen. It's not our choice, Fighters are a strange breed, but I think at this stage, in this age, I'd much rather he'd have done something like a challenge, a marathon, an Ironman thing, swimming the channel, something like that, rather than get back in the ring. Because whatever shape you're in, you're going to have lost so much over the years in terms of reflexes. It goes back to, we were there when he bowed out against Steve Collins, when he lost a couple of times. It's a long time ago, back in 1996, a lifetime ago, and I think. Yeah, it's not for me, but I wish him well, and I hope he comes out absolutely fine, and that's the most important thing, especially at the moment.
And obviously Tyson Fury is going to be on Sky Sports, not in the boxing ring though.
As I said, nothing really surprises us in boxing. It's so unpredictable. Nothing really surprises me with Tyson Fury. He shocked us all winning a world heavyweight title in wonderful fashion out in Germany. Mentally he spooked Vladimir Klitschko, and then he physically beat him. He had a difficult time in the months after that, but he's proved that he can come back from a real low point. With a massive weight gain, fighting mental health issues and being very open and honest about them. To get into the position where I thought he beat Deontay Wilder. So, he's done ever so well. I'd like to have seen the cut heel maybe against after the Otto Wallin fight, because I want to see the Wilder fight next year, and obviously the winner of Ruiz and AJ to be in the mix. And those fights have got to happen in 2020. But in the meantime, we all have a little bit of entertainment, a bit of theatre, and Tyson's going to deliver that. And he's a clever guy because he's going to bring another audience to him. So, we'll all be watching, won't we?
We certainly will. Last one, and it has to be AJ and Ruiz. Your early thoughts on that, and how do you think Alexander Usyk's debut affects the upper legions of the heavyweight scene?
Welcome Alexander Usyk to the heavyweights. He's an amazing fighter. He was just testing the waters, I think, against Chaz Witherspoon. He didn't overly impress, but I didn't think that was the exercise. I think he was just sort of dipping his toe, seeing what it was like at that sort of weight, and he got the job done. And stylistically, he's going to be very, very difficult for any heavyweight, whatever size. Whether he's quite big enough to take on the likes of Fury, Wilder, and AJ, or even Ruiz just yet, I'm not sure. Maybe he needs one or two more, but he's going to be in Saudi, and he wants the world title next. So look, they're full of ambition. They're full of confidence, that team. So he's another very dangerous offering in the heavyweight world. So excited about Usyk. Look, Ruiz and AJ, it's the one we all want to see. It was the biggest upset of many years in the heavyweight division in Madison Square Garden. And the question is, do immediate rematches go the same way? Can Andy Ruiz do it all over again? We hear he's in really good shape. He'll believe he can do it and probably do it even quicker. But Anthony Joshua's got all the physical attributes, and if there was something slightly wrong beforehand, if he was a bit complacent, if he did look past him, I don't believe the conspiracy theories. I think the better guy on the night won. But if he gets it right and he utilised his physical advantages, he didn't really throw any uppercuts and didn't use his jab to any decent effect in the first few rounds of that fight, AJ. So if he can this time, he could make it an easier night's work. But I honestly think it's up in the air, that one, and that's why people are going to want to tune in on December the 7th. So it's going to have a huge impact to the 2020 scene and the future of the heavyweight division. Obviously, people in Britain, everybody wants Anthony Joshua to reclaim the heavyweight titles. He's worked with Sky as an ambassador for many years. We followed him closely. We'd love him to come back and to take the likes of Tyson Fury and Deontay Wilder on. But he's got his work cut out against Andy Ruiz Jr. He's lost once, and it could happen again.
Exciting times, Adam. Okay, finally, just to help you with the commentary tomorrow, is it Newcastle or Newcastle?
Newcastle for me, but I'm a Londoner, so Newcastle up here, isn't it?
It is indeed. Adam Smith, thank you very much for your time.
No problem at all.
you.